Let me now show you the agenda for today's session. We will start with some housekeeping tips, followed by introductions, then learn about various aspects of our cybersecurity offerings. After the presentation, a past student, Winston, will share his experience, and our panelists will also answer your questions during the Q&A session. For user experience, your audio, video, and chat features have been turned off. You can switch your viewing option to either the gallery view or the side-by-side view. Speaker view or the gallery view. For questions and polls, please open a new tab on your browser or a second device and type in slido.com and enter event code UBC Cyber. This session is being recorded, and all participants will be we will send a YouTube channel recording link to all the participants who have registered for this session. Moving forward onto introductions. My name is Emily Wu, Program Leader at UBC Extended Learning. I will be moderating today's session. And I'm delighted today to be joined by our instructors, Anthony Green and Marian Aliabadi, who are the instructors teaching our cybersecurity programs. So I will first introduce Anthony and have him share a few words about him. Anthony Green is a seasoned cybersecurity professional with nearly a decade of experience in safeguarding Canada's largest companies and public organizations. He is the lead cybersecurity instructor at UBC Extended Learning, and his passion for teaching extends internationally, collaborating with top universities in Kenya and helping government officials in Malaysia to enhance their cybersecurity capacities. Anthony has been volunteering with the ISACA Vancouver chapter since 2019 and served on as the chapter's president from 2022 to 2023. I'll let Anthony say a few words about himself.
Hi, yeah, perfect. Hi everyone. Looking forward to teaching teaching some of these courses. Again, I've been teaching at UBC for the last 3.5 years now, teaching the risk management, cybersecurity strategy, standards and risk management, micro-credential, and now teaching the cloud security course. I started my cybersecurity career doing hacking, breaking into games and stuff as back in high school. And my first job was at London Drugs, where I managed their cybersecurity program. Eventually, I ended up leading their PCI DSS compliance program there. And now I'm at CPABC, where I'm managing their security program. I started off as the first security engineer there and now have a team of 3 under me. So I've been working with big companies, startups, SMEs, all of the above. So
Thank you so much, Anthony. Next, I would like to introduce Mariam. Marian Alibadi is a postdoctoral teaching and research fellow and a sessional lecturer at UBC's Department of Computer Science, with a focus on applied machine learning and cyber physical systems. Mariam has over 10 years international industrial experience as an R&D engineer in international companies and over 4 years of teaching experience in post-secondary institutions. I'll let Mariam say a few words about herself.
Thank you so much, Emily, for the great introduction. So I'm a teaching faculty here at UBC, and my research and teaching interest spans system security, cloud computing, and applied machine learning and generative AI, with a strong commitment to innovation in cybersecurity education. I'm also leading cybersecurity education for kids in Vancouver through my venture, which is Kids Shield Services, an initiative which is dedicated to providing cybersecurity literacy among children through gamified learning and Gen AI. So I'm really passionate about both research and teaching in the field of cybersecurity, and I'm actively seeking opportunities to build really meaningful solution and interdisciplinary collaboration with industries. And I'm very hopeful to see many of you in the course.
Thank you so much, Miriam and Anthony, for your introductions and making time to be here with us today. I would like to begin by to also learn a little bit about our attendees today. To participate in the poll, please open slido.com and enter event code UBC Cyber or scan the QR code on your screen. Please let us know what industry are you currently working in. We have folks working in higher education, government, banking, finance and banking, interesting, supply chain, construction, health and safety management, IT. Thank you. The second poll question we have, you can feel free to continue answering the poll here. We have a second question is what title do you hold in your current company? What title do you hold in your company? Your answers will help us to learn a little bit about yourself and tailor our to help us prepare for the Q&A as well. We have solution architect, health and safety manager, IT technician, IT consultant, product manager, associate team lead, business banking. Thank you. So I will keep the poll open, but in the meantime, I would invite Anthony to turn on his audio and share and give us more information about the cybersecurity landscape and roles.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily. So a little bit about perfect. Okay, a little bit about the cybersecurity landscape. Cybersecurity is only growing. And when I say only growing, I mean both on the negative and the positive side. So there's been more cybersecurity attacks, but there's also been the most amount of cybersecurity roles. 72% of SMBs reported cyber attacks in the past year. The average ransom is $6.3 million per data breach. And that's Canadian. So that's the IBM cost of data. That's a Canadian report that IBM did. And the recovery on spending from cybersecurity incidents doubled from 600 million to 1.2 billion. Now, what that's showing us is that more and more organizations are being reactive to their cybersecurity. So they're spending more on the actual fixing things after a breach. But what we also see is 72% of SMBs getting attacks, meaning that we need more organizations to be proactive. So you have to, there's two, proactive and reactive. That's where kind of this program comes in, is it helps you become more proactive. You're taking this education in order to be able to take and stop those 72% for your organization, right? Next slide, Emily. Was there another slide here? Yeah, perfect. And the roles that we see are basically these. Sorry, let me take a step back. And because there's so much more cybersecurity, incidents happening, we know people are spending money on incident recovery. Organizations are now spending more money on being proactive. They don't want to spend that $6.2 million on an incident if they don't have to. And so we're seeing a rise of a lot of cybersecurity governance roles specifically. So security engineering roles have been going up as well, but governance roles specifically have been increasing because of stuff like the SEC legislation in the US requiring any public company to have a cybersecurity experience, someone on the board. In the EU, we have the NIS2 directive, NIS2, and DORA, which are now regulations that require, basically data privacy officers and at some points CISOs. And we're seeing that trickle down in the industry. And some of the roles that aren't necessarily cybersecurity roles, but end up doing cybersecurity are some like this chief information officer, corporate security officer, planning and policy analyst, program manager, ones that design and develop the programs. So the architects, right? Cybersecurity is now becoming integrated into their field as well. You cannot implement a cloud system without securing it, because over the last couple of years, there's too many organizations that have implemented the cloud wrong and ended up having it be unsecure. So what that means is there have literally been people that have configured the cloud so that their database was wide open to the public, right? So we're seeing security now being a requirement in enterprise architect role, within web developer roles, within business analysts, they need to know the security process. Then on the other side, we also have the data people, the data analyst, the system analyst, the network administrator. Same thing as I was mentioning with the cloud, you cannot set up a network without not knowing cybersecurity best practices. And so this is where we're seeing cybersecurity not only grow as an industry itself, and more people are getting hired to do cybersecurity as like the security engineers, the CISOs, the officers, but we're also seeing a lot of cybersecurity being integrated throughout everybody else's role. So the enterprise architects now have cybersecurity certifications. The CIO has a cybersecurity certification to showcase that they have that cybersecurity experience for the public bodies, right? So all that to know is that there is a lot of cybersecurity opportunities out there, and not just in cybersecurity. A lot of times it's cybersecurity adjacent roles, and cybersecurity just shows that you have that high level of experience, right? If you're a network engineer or a network administrator with cybersecurity certifications, that just gives the organization more trust that you'll be able to build those networks properly. Next slide. So this is a nice little graph of how related all these different roles are to cybersecurity analysts. So the nice thing is that not only do those roles have some cybersecurity in them already, because they have that, it's actually much easier to then pivot into a cybersecurity role full time, right? So if you wanted to move into a cybersecurity role, even if you have, for example, experience with Windows administration, you most likely have experience with securing Windows administration. Well, that pivots directly into a cybersecurity analyst role. Same thing with a systems administrator or a IT auditor, risk analyst, right? All of these now have cybersecurity integrated in some way or another, which means that you can, if you want to then move towards that specialization, it's significantly easier. You're not starting from scratch, you're starting from a good base of knowledge. Next slide, please. So a couple different pathways that we see. So systems engineer, right? Like I was saying at the beginning, systems engineer will have a good systems engineer or enterprise architect, infrastructure architect, systems architect, IT director. You cannot do those without having the cybersecurity expertise. And so the difference between those roles and, let's say, a CISO or a cybersecurity manager is that a cybersecurity manager is looking at cybersecurity for the entire organization. As an architect, you're looking at cybersecurity for the pieces that you're architecting, right? So same thing with systems engineer. You're looking at the pieces that you're engineering. So a cybersecurity specialist kind of has that holistic view of the entire organization. But now we're seeing more and more of the actual roles, not cybersecurity roles, but the IT roles, what's called shifting left, and meaning that they're becoming more cybersecurity, they're not becoming cybersecurity roles, but they're keeping cybersecurity in mind in their roles. It's becoming a requirement of their job. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Anthony. So I'm going to speak on the next slide.
I'll leave it to you.
Thank you. Um, So UBC Extended Learning currently offers 2 cybersecurity micro-certificate programs, as well as 1 ethical hacking certification program. All the courses are 100% online with a weekly 1.5 to 2-hour live online sessions with an instructor. As all the sessions are recorded, so you can refer back to them in case you have to miss one. We will focus today's session on the 2 UBC Senate-approved micro-certificates that you see here on the top. Both are developed by industry experts with the input from UBC faculty and UBC IT leadership. Each of the micro-certificate consists of 2 courses, and each course is 4 weeks in length. Learners are expected to spend a minimum of 5 to 7 hours per week for a total of 56 hours each course. We offer each program twice a year. So the first course, we have immediate offering in July. And you can see that we offer, we provide a $50 discount when you register 2 weeks before the course start date. There's no requirement to take these courses. Familiarity with management information systems, business applications, the Internet of Things, and general technology topics is an asset, but not required. The other program we offer is the Ethical Hacking Certification Program, which is a rigorous 4-month program that uses EC Council's curriculum. EC Council is the world's largest cybersecurity technical certification body. Those registered in our ethical hacking course have access to EC Council's materials, practice exam, and exam voucher. So this course also has a weekly 2-hour live session with an instructor, and the program is very rigorous, and we recommend students have 2 years of IT security experience before enrolling. Now I would like to invite Anthony back to speak about the 2 micro-certificate, the 3 courses that he's teaching.
Awesome. All right, so I already spoke quite a bit, so I'll try to keep it short and sweet, but nice and detailed. So the first one is the Cybersecurity Strategy and Risk Management micro-certificate. So it comes with 2 courses, Standards and Strategy and Risk Management. They can be taken individually, but completing them in sequence allows you to get the full micro-certificate. Next slide, please. So both of these, or all three, both of these courses, what you do is you get 2 assignments per week, and a knowledge quiz. And part of those, and one of those assignments is actually a policy that we're going to be building on. So the cybersecurity standards and strategy course is really focused on giving you an understanding of what is, when my boss says, "Are you secure?" How do you say yes, right? Security can be considered subjective, right? And it can also mean a lot of different things. It can also, it's always hard. You can't say you can't get hacked because there's a lot of attackers out there and they're going to find a way. So when your employer, your boss says, "Hey, are you secure?" How do you say yes? And cybersecurity standards and strategy talks about that conversation, right? We talk about what are cybersecurity foundations. We talk about cybersecurity hygiene. We talk about cybersecurity standards. So what standards do we need to follow? And that's where our policies come in. So part of creating a cybersecurity program is knowing what the rules of the game are for your organization. And so part of what we do during this course is build a policy, and that policy can then be used to satisfy different cybersecurity standards. Once those standards are satisfied, that's something that you can go to your employer and say, "Yes, we're secure. Here's a best practice cybersecurity standard, and we're hitting all of the marks." And then finally, the last week is communicating cybersecurity expectations, where we talk more about how do we actually get the organization to read our cybersecurity policies and care about security awareness. You've all done a security awareness phishing training video, but there's a big difference between doing the video and doing the actual course. Next slide. And then cybersecurity risk management. Now we go, so the way that I like to look at it, so you don't have to take them cybersecurity standards, then risk management. You can take risk management then standards, doesn't quite matter. You'll get the full knowledge from doing both. But what I like to say is normal organizations, what they do is compliance is the bigger stick. And so they start with cybersecurity standards and strategy. So standards and strategy is how do you make sure that you're compliant, right? How do you make sure that you're secure? When your boss says, are you secure? You say yes, because we're compliant by these standards. The next course is about risk management, and normally in the organization's life, first they'll get compliant, then they say, okay, now we're spending a whole bunch of money on cyber. How do we make sure that we're spending it effectively? And that's where risk management comes in. Risk management basically is how do you maximize the return on your investment on your cybersecurity? And in order to do that, we need to understand what are the different risks. Cybersecurity is inherently unique because not every organization is different. The way that, like I was saying, London Drugs and CPABC, the way that both of those look at cybersecurity is extremely different, right? They have extremely different risk profiles and they have very different objectives, right? So first we need to understand what are your different risk profiles, come up with an organization, what are your different objectives in your organization, and then you're going to be building off of that for the week. So in the course. So in the first course, I said we built a policy over the 4 weeks. In this course, we're actually building a risk management plan. So throughout the 4 weeks, we slowly add on to a risk management plan. And what that is basically a policy or document for your organization that talks about how to actually do risk management in your organization. So that's what we'll essentially be creating. And then a lot of students actually end up using this for their own organizations going forward. They just do some slight edits and then use it internally. But essentially, we're going to be going over we're going to be learning about what risks different organizations care about, how to prevent those risks. Week 3 is actually my favorite week of them all. That's the week where we go over tons of cybersecurity tools and why they're important and which risks they actually mitigate. And then the last week, it talks about how to actually govern cybersecurity risks. So there's a big difference between doing risk management and risk governance. And that's really what we talk about. And between those two, that's our micro-credential in cybersecurity strategy and standards and risk management.
Thank you, Anthony. And the next micro certificate is Cloud Security and Cyber Attack Prevention Methods. There are 2 courses. The first course is Cloud Security Fundamentals, taught by Anthony. And the second course is Defending Against the Attacker's Mindset. So I'll have Anthony to speak about the first course first.
All right, so this last time you'll hear me for this presentation or doing my little speech. So after that, it's up to everyone else. So Cloud Security Fundamentals is essentially made out of the problem of lots of organizations either are starting in the cloud or moving to the cloud. And the cloud, for example, the cloud, but let's say AWS, Azure, Google Cloud providers, GCP, they each have 200 to 300 different services that they're running. And that gets extremely overwhelming for anybody that's going and trying to set up cloud systems. So in this course, we don't go over 200, 300 services, but we go over what are the core concepts. What is the cloud? One of the most important things that we go over is called the shared responsibility model, right? When you go to the cloud, you have a very different responsibility for infrastructure than you would if you were on premise. And that is something that's very important to understand before you even touch anything in the cloud. We also talk about access control. So with the cloud versus normal on-premise infrastructure, on-premise is more about the devices that you have. The cloud is more about the identities of the people that are accessing things. And so we talk really about the difference here, what access control is. It's the main difference between authorization and authentication, stuff like that. Week 3, we talk about different tools. So this is basically more along the lines of different tools to secure your cloud. What are the main, 4 or 5 tools that most organizations will be using in order to have a secure cloud? And then finally, week 4, we talk about misconfiguration compliance. So the number one threat to the cloud is misconfigurations. So we make sure that we understand that, and when you're building, you have the tools needed so that when you build your cloud environment, you can ensure that you don't have any misconfigurations and that you can follow compliance frameworks. So we are not AWS, Azure, Google, we're cloud agnostic. The idea here is to understand the fundamentals of moving to any cloud. And whether you move to Azure or AWS, you're going to be looking at the same concepts, just different names. And that's it.
Thank you, Anthony. Now I will invite Miriam to speak about her course, Defending Against the Attacker's Mindset.
Sure. Thank you so much, Emily. So yeah, I'm going to introduce the Defending Against Attackers Mindset course a little bit. This is the fourth offering of the course. This will be the fourth offering of the course. This is a unique course in a sense that it provides a non-technical version of ethical hacking. And by non-technical, basically, I mean we are not going to build or use any tool for hacking. Basically, we are just going to learn what is the attacker's mindset when they are just trying to initiate and launch a new attack, so we can be proactive and provide a better defense against that mindset. So in the first week, we are going to cover the red teaming and attackers methodology, because attacker just does not attack randomly. Basically, all of attackers are going through a strict methodology for penetrating into the system, into network, into the organization to have a successful attack. So we will start with fundamental concepts of red teaming, trying to get into the attacker's brain. And then we will analyze the major data breaches that are happening out there and their importance. And then we will learn about the fundamental cyber threats and how to protect against them. In the second week, we get familiar with how to communicate with the attackers. More specifically, we will talk about the penetration testers. Most of organizations basically have some sorts of regulatory or compliance policies that enforces them at least once a year to do penetration testing. So we want to make sure that when we are going to do the penetration testing, we are going to use the same language. And also, we are going to develop a pre-engagement pen scenario and make sure that we align the objectives of the organization and penetration testers. And finally, we will talk about different types of reconnaissance. Basically, reconnaissance is what attackers will do before launching any attack, gathering information and making everything planned. So you will get familiar with the reconnaissance type and how each type could benefit the entire goal of defense against attackers. And then in week 3, you will learn about the attacker's tool set and the methodology that usually attackers are using. So we are not going to try any tool, but we are going to learn how to identify them, because you need to identify those tools to know how to block the attackers, right? And for that, we are going to talk about a standard framework, which is a MITRE framework, and we will do a deep analysis on different attacks. And finally, in week 4, we are going to learn about the bug bounty and secure software development cycle. More specifically, we want to know when a new software is going to be developed, what are the security considerations that needs to be added into each phase of the life cycle to make the entire output secure and safe. So at the end, you're gonna demonstrate how security can be integrated into the software development lifecycle. And through the assignments, you will basically select a component of the software development lifecycle as a case study, and will try to integrate security within that, and then you will provide a report on that. So overall, the goal of this course is not just about learning technical aspects, as I mentioned before, but it will give you a great understanding about how you will be able to start pivoting into the cybersecurity in your organization. So you can help as a cybersecurity support analyst if you are already a cybersecurity professional. Then the course will be beneficial for rounding up your knowledge about blue team, red team, and how to provide the better defensive strategy for your organization. And yeah, that's it. We are also evaluate your knowledge through the quizzes, and 2 assignments per week, and there will be no final exam. Thank you so much, and I'm hopeful to see some of you in the next offering of the course.
Thank you, Miriam. And hopefully there will be some questions for Miriam that she will be able to answer if any folks have questions specific about this course. Next, I would like to talk about student experience. So we have joining us today, very grateful. I'm just gonna spotlight Winston here. Winston, can I invite you to put your camera on so I can spotlight you? Thank you. Oops. So Winston is an IT professional based in Vancouver, BC, with a specialized focus on Mac systems, Apple products, and related services. As a lifelong learner driven by curiosity and continuous improvement, Winston is passionate about technology, innovation, and practical efficiency. Winston has actually completed both of our cybersecurity microcertificates, and he's here today to share with us his experience in the programs and how the experience supported his work today. Thank you.
Thanks, Emily. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for the UBC Extended Learning for invited me over to share my experiences with you today. I remember 2 years ago, I was part of the audience where everyone is here right now. My goal at the time was to find some courses that will help me fill any knowledge gap in cybersecurity. Knowledge in this area is very important, especially in my line of work. So what I've learned is that cybersecurity proves to be much broader than just a technical skill. It is more of a mindset that combines risk awareness, a lot of critical thinking, and more thinking that is spread out into your everyday decisions and behaviors. So what I've gained from this program proves to be extremely useful for providing necessary awareness and planning by educating myself about security frameworks and governance. For me, having this knowledge and skill is very important, as it makes things easier for me to understand and talk about security with clients, vendors, and service providers. So I am a student of both Anthony and Miriam. So both of them have the experience and credibility that are known and well respected by the industry. So you know you're in good hands. Lastly, you being here today is already a significant step in the right direction. If not for work, at the very least, like educate yourself on the best practices that will be useful for yourself, your friends, and your family. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Winston, for sharing your your knowledge and your experience. And when I was talking to Winston earlier, he said his next, he wants to learn more about AI. So that's the next thing he's on to. So thank you. And please, if folks have any questions about Winston's experience, feel free, he'll stay with us for the Q&A as well. Now we'll start the Q&A. Please go back to slido.com, enter event code UBC Cyber, or scan the QR code on the screen, and our panelists will address the questions that you may have. So I see that there is some questions coming in, so I'm just going to spotlight both our instructors. If you, Anthony and Miriam, could enable your camera, and I will let you both chime in on the questions that you would like to refer to. So the first question we have here is there a focus on specific platform, such as Microsoft, for implementation?
So from our side, no. We are not tool dependent. We are talking about high level kind of programs. So we'll be when we talk about identity, we don't just talk about Microsoft. We talk about identity providers in general, for example.
Thank you, Miriam. Would you like to add to that for your course?
I guess on my side also the answer is no. There's no specific bias to Microsoft or any other platform.
Great, thank you. Next question we have: will the UBC Cyber Extended Learning, cyber programs at UBC Extended Learning, be able to lend me a cybersecurity analyst role? If no, which program within or outside UBC can I use to get a job in CS? Yeah, Anthony, go ahead.
I'll start. So in my experience, there is no one program that's going to get you a job in cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is not necessarily an entry-level role. It's not something you just jump into. You usually have some kind of experience. So for example, if you're doing a program in computer science with a cybersecurity specialization, or you have been a support analyst for a year or two and you're trying to move into cybersecurity. So what this specialization does is it'll help you get on your way, but it will not, just having this one certificate won't get you a job, and I don't think there's any certificate that will just simply get you a job. These days, it's really the certificates are showing that you actually are there. The certificates are more proving that you're willing to learn and continue your education versus a check mark that you know everything. So the certificates are more proving that you know what you're talking about versus a simple requirement for a job. So there have been several students that have gotten jobs or promotions into security positions very shortly after the certification. But the certification was a part of that, not the only cause of that. So I just want to be completely transparent.
Thank you, Anthony. And Miriam and Winston, would you like to add to Anthony's response?
Yeah, sure. So basically, as Anthony said, definitely one single course cannot provide a holistic view of cybersecurity for you to get into one specific job, but it will be a good start. So cybersecurity field is really vast, and there are a diversity in different expertise that could put in place in different companies. So for example, if you consider two big category of red team and blue team, I mean red team by those who are playing the role of ethical hackers, and the blue team, the people who are just trying to initiate and build the defensive solutions for any company or organizations. These are two different paths, and for each of them, definitely you need to have different set of expertise. But for the specific course that I'm going to teach, the defense against attackers mindset, it will be a great start to understand the idea behind what is in the attacker's brain and how we will be able to prepare ourselves to for a better defense. So definitely by taking this course, you will be able to provide a better support for cybersecurity support analyst in your as a cybersecurity support analyst in your company. But definitely it will be at the beginning of the road. And if you are a cybersecurity professional, as I mentioned before, this course will help you to round up your knowledge about the red team and blue team and provide a better help. But definitely it needs to be completed with a more advanced and more technical versions in the future if you want to be expert in one specific role.
Thank you, Marian and Winston. Currently working in IT, what did you think of that question?
Yeah. So as what Anthony has said earlier, like completing this or getting this certificate won't get you a job. It's more of like an add-on to whatever existing knowledge that you have. It is a plus. Knowing more about like how cybersecurity works, like the framework, all of those good stuff are very important to supplement like whatever you already have as a skill.
Thank you, Winston. The next question is also related to working in this field, entering the field of cybersecurity. How beneficial is this course for someone who has little to no experience in cybersecurity, but wants to secure a role in this field? It's similar to the last question, but I would invite the panelists to add to this question.
Yeah, so I would say this is actually extremely beneficial for somebody who has little to no experience. And the main reason is because we touch on such high level management concepts that if somebody wants a role in this field, having understand the high level and then starting. So if you have little to no experience, taking this course, giving you that high level view of what cybersecurity is a perfect spot for you to get started and figure out where you want to move to going forward. Right? Cybersecurity is vast, so that like Marianne said, there's lots of different ways to get into it, right? I'm teaching a lot of the standards course are more for management. The attacker and the CEH course are more for attackers, right? So these courses that we're offering are actually perfect for you to kind of get enough of an understanding to see if this is something to see which part you want to follow, because you will not learn all of cybersecurity. You are either going to go into the blue team, into the management, into auditing, into red team, right? These are all extremely vast fields. You cannot have the knowledge of all of them, right? So these courses are actually extremely beneficial for somebody like that, and it's just the benefit of having something like UBC backed behind the credential too. So I would say it's extremely beneficial for those with little to no experience, so they can get, and the reason is because then they get the right knowledge and the right time. Most people, when they get into cybersecurity, they learn it from a little piece here, a little bit there, right? So the gaps never get connected or filled. This will kind of start with that high level knowledge right at the beginning and will give you a really good fundamental basis. That's my opinion. Oh, Emily, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry, Marian, would you like to add to what Anthony shared?
No, I guess Anthony provided a very complete answer. Yeah, this course is, these micro certificates provide a very, very great start point for specifically for the people who have known previous knowledge in cybersecurity. So it will be a great point to start. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. How is the UBC course different from any other paid courses on LinkedIn? They also provide certificates. So maybe I'll invite Anthony to start with that question.
Yeah, so I don't know if the LinkedIn courses have live sessions as well. But we have live sessions. We are a lot more local. Where I don't know how often those courses are updated, right? There on LinkedIn, there's 1,000 different courses. And maybe if you found like 15, 25, 30 different modules together and did your research and added them all up together, maybe you might get something comparable. But, this was curated for a specific reason. And it also a UBC certificate is a lot, it's not on the same level as a LinkedIn certificate, right? Like a LinkedIn certificate just says you completed a course. A UBC is an actual accredited training provider, right? So there's a really, really big difference there, especially if a LinkedIn course is not going to fly on a resume to show that you have certain experience. Yeah.
Anything you would like to add to that, Marian or Winston?
For me, no.
And Winston?
Yeah, you have both Anthony and Mariam here as a resource to guide you through. That really helps because like you can take all the courses you want online, but if there's nobody there to basically support you and guide you through your journey, that would be more difficult.
Thank you. Next question we have, what are the requirements to be admitted? Because I don't have any experience or knowledge, but interested in the field of cybersecurity. As mentioned earlier, for the 2 micro certificates, you do not need to have any technical background to enroll, but I'll let Anthony and Marian to add to that.
So for my courses, there's absolutely no technical background needed. We start from the basics. I mean, if you have technical background, you'll be able to understand the concepts deeper than if you don't. But if you don't, you'll still be able to understand, and you'll just have to, the acronyms that you hear or some of the things that you're less familiar with, you'll have to do some extra research. But we have had students that have come from like a math degree have come and taken this and have been able to understand and succeed. So no requirements to be admitted, especially because it's extended learning, and no requirements for experience or knowledge. That's why it's such a great space to start. We specifically made these to be, that's why they're not necessarily extremely technical. For the CEH, that's a different story. That is, it's doable if you have no experience, but you're gonna have to work a lot harder. If you do have some experience, that's more needed. But for the cloud security, for the cloud fundamentals, micro credential, and the cybersecurity strategy and risk standards, you can have no experience.
So for me, exactly the same thing goes for, as I mentioned, the Defense Against Attackers Mindset course is a non-technical version of ethical hacking. So definitely the technical background is not necessary, although having that would be a kind of asset for people to better digest and comprehend everything, but definitely it is not required. And based on my experience, some of the other previous students who took this course, for example, one of them was dentist in the last offering, and she had no idea about the tech space and cybersecurity. But at the end of the day, she was super happy because of getting a very great high-level view and knowledge about cybersecurity field. So yeah, there is no specific requirements.
Thank you both. And the next question is on the flip side, if somebody who's an experienced software engineer, how technical is this course? Would this be a good choice for them?
So from my side, not technical, but I would still say it's a good choice because as a software engineer, you will a lot of the high level concepts that we explain, you will understand the low level side of it. And if you wouldn't consider yourself an expert in security, at least doing this course, you'll understand what all the things that you're already doing that you may not have known that are actually security focused. So we find a lot of software engineers that I've talked to and ones that have done this are like, Oh, I thought that was just best practice. Yes, it's best practice, but there's a reason why it's best practice because you're actually following this framework. So, you just following the best practices isn't just following the best practices, it's keeping the company compliant for this following framework and keeping them out of fines. And so that's the type of mindset that you would get as a software engineer taking these courses, not necessarily here's how you do application security development. But Mariam has a lot more experience than me on that, and she can talk a little bit more about the other, the more attacker methodology courses.
So I guess for software developer or anybody who has a specialization in IT or tech space, it would be also beneficial because I had the students in both sides of the spectrum in my previous offerings of the course, and I saw how they are taking benefit of the course. So I guess, as Anthony mentioned, when you have a technical background, you will be able to get into each concept much deeper. For example, when we are talking about the OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities in high level, so the concepts will be understandable for the people who have no idea about cybersecurity field, but for a software developer, it would be much more understandable in terms of if he or she is just looking at a piece of code, find out what are those security holes that could be considered as a vulnerability and that can be exploited by attackers. So how they will be able to provide a kind of assertion or patch beforehand. So it will provide a better, deeper understanding about the field. And as I said before, it is not just one course that can give you the entire knowledge and expertise in the cybersecurity field. It is a starting point. So you as a software developer will be able to get the thread and go ahead and get the more advanced versions of the, for example, ethical hacking courses, and then get your knowledge deeper and deeper.
Thank you. And next question is specifically for somebody working in insurance claims field and want to transfer to cybersecurity field. We don't have a ton of time, so maybe Anthony, you can speak
Quick
about
fire?
this. Yeah, that'd be
All
great.
right, so quick fire, yes, it's a great way. It's the best roadmap would definitely to take the more GRC security compliance route. You already know how to work with a lot of policies with insurance. Take a look at cybersecurity insurance, but also this would be great for you to understand at least what are the different frameworks and standards you're going to need to follow in the cybersecurity space, and then that knowledge you have will be directly transferable.
Great, thank you. So you can find out our courses on our website. After July, we have the next offering will be in September and October. So you can register. The courses don't need to be taken the same year. As long as you complete 2 courses within the micro certificate, you'll receive the micro certification. In terms of applying, there's no applications required for any of our for both our programs, so you can just register for one course. Last but not least, with the standard course support my potential career transition in banking as we increase in our digital footprint. This is specific in the banking industry, Anthony.
So I would say, so one of the cool things about these courses is that a lot of the stuff is transferable into a lot of other jobs as well. So just knowing about the different compliances, security compliance, the fact that the SEC rule needs to have a security person, this all adds to making you a stronger candidate in the banking sector. So having good cybersecurity fundamentals isn't going to get you a job in banking, but it's going to make you look better than the other person that you're competing against that's on the same level as you. So I would say it's really a transitionable skill in that sense.
Thank you. Now we have the last poll question before we wrap up the session. When do you hope to participate in the program? Please share us your intention, and we will also be sending a survey post the session to let us know if you have any feedback about the session today. Before we close, any last word from you, Miriam, Winston, and Anthony?
Not for me. I had enough words.
No. And Winston, would you anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, like my only advice is like don't get intimidated by week one, because it will make sense after you've completed the program. There will be like some hanging questions that may hang around for a bit, but at the end, everything will click into place. And complete those assignments. They're very important and useful.
Thank you, Winston. That's very encouraging. I see that there was a question about funding, so I have included a slide here that there are some funding opportunities available. So there's the BC Employer Training Grant and the BC Pacific Leader Scholarship for Public Servants. So both of these links are available on our website, but you can check these two organizations to see if there might be some potential financial support for you. Thank you again for joining us today and the panelists for taking the time. If you have further questions, please contact us by email or phone listed on the screen. Thank you again. We look forward to having you joining our program soon.
Thanks, everyone.
So much.